Hey y'all. Hello. Mic check. Mic check. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. 3, 2, 1. It's Unveiled vibration. We here, y'all. All aboard. Man, oh man, oh man. I've missed you guys. I've missed you. No worries. Today, ladies and gentlemen, is Wednesday, August. I say August the 5th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th August. And we're going to get this thing started in another minute. I need y'all to hit that like button. I need y'all to hit that subscribe button. I need you to hit that share button. Because all of it is free 99. Ain't gonna cost you a thing out your pocket. What it does cost you is some love. Share some love with your boy on this evening, please. Hit the buttons, all of them, please. And we'll get things started. Y'all know what time it is. It's time for Unveiled with your host, Mr. TD McCollum. That is me, yeah. Glad to have you guys here with me tonight, man. I appreciate you being in the building. Boy. Oh boy, it has been a long time. No, it hasn't. It's only been a week. Or 2 weeks. If you count the week in between the last show, which was about grief. I think you guys would enjoy that show. Indeed. Go to this channel and watch it. Share it with a friend. Some meaningful conversation was shared on that evening. Let's get to these pleasantries out of. My name is TD. I go by Mr. TD McCollum. I am a podcaster, musician, and I have developed this channel here to have the conversations that we don't like to have out loud. Hence, the alternative name of this channel is Unveiled Vibrations, resonating with the other side of silence. The reason why we're going to be resonating with the other side of silence is this is a space that we can have these conversations and feel like we're heard. I'm your homeboy. I'm sitting down at your dinner table, your couch, at the edge of your bed, in your car, as you roll in the streets. We having a conversation with each other about what's happening out here in these world. A lot happens from day to day, week to week, month to month, year to year. And frankly, sometimes we're afraid to talk about these things out loud because, hey, most of the time, no one wants to hear it because everybody's consumed with whatever is going on in their life at the moment, which is okay. But if you're in a state of mind in which you want to have that conversation with somebody, you can have it with your boy here. Me, TD. I love to have the conversation with you. Over the last year and some change now, we've had several conversations. Some talking about aliens, some talking about politics, some talking about sports, some talk about almost everything that you can think of. We talked about it. Even music here on the platform. And, I decided, hey, I will open up the conversation to the people. My people. Which is you. So welcome to our channel, Unveiled Vibrations. Yes, I do go by Unveiled Vibrations, but my stage name is TD McCollum. I'm a saxophonist and music producer, arranger. I have several, I won't say several, I got a few musical compositions out. They are available on these streaming platforms under the name TD McCollum. Go check them out. And if you didn't know and you just catching up, hey, this show goes live every Wednesday, 8:30. Unless I tell you I'm not coming live. We'll be here, 8:30-ish, somewhere around there. I don't know. I got stuff I'll be doing throughout the day, so I don't hit it on the dot. But I'm working on that. Work in progress. You can follow your boy here. Instagram, TikTok is where I mostly dwell. No, I don't have Facebook. I'm sorry. I don't deal with Facebook anymore outside of Instagram. I don't deal with Twitter. I've never liked Twitter. Never was a fan of it. Don't look for me over there. I'm not going to be there. Instagram, TikTok is where you go and find me. Most of the time, I'm doing a lot of reposting of what I'm seeing out there. Where I come and talk about it is here. Right here. On Unveiled Vibrations. This is where you're going to hear my opinions on it. A lot of this stuff. Okay. And just a reminder, that's Wednesdays, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. Eastern. Not Central, not Mountain, not Pacific. Eastern. Because I'm on the East Coast. That is where I be. If you are in the need of prayer, I am a spiritual man. You can join me, my lovely wife, my wonderful brother in law, every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. ish. And when I say by ish, it's not to curse or anything like that. It's like somewhere around 10 o'clock. It might be 10, 10:05, 10:15, 10:20. Lord forbid. It don't matter. As long as it's around 10 o'clock, we gonna be here. Right here on YouTube. On Faithful Warrior Ministries channel. Not this channel. Faithful Warrior Ministries. Just type it in the search bar. Or you can look for it in the description of this video. Take it straight there. Subscribe. Like the videos. Watch them. Share them. We come together. We do a little prayer. We do some devotional. And we do some socializing. It's a family affair. Indeed. Hey, appreciate you. Well, okay. A lot has happened, ladies and gents. I'm not sure exactly where I want to begin. I know the hottest thing that everybody's been talking about, and it has been driving me nuts. So last month, in the month of July, specifically 4th of July weekend, a young man by the name of Nolan went out with a group of friends and did not return, unfortunately. After being out with said group of friends, a lot of people have talked about this. The only reason why I'm bringing it up is because I have great concerns. My concerns are specifically centered around the misinformation, the lack of information, and the overall, how I would say, just tomfoolery that has been transpired around this whole ordeal. From social influencers doing interviews with some of, I'll say, alleged Nolan friends, to other news anchors diving in on this subject matter and everybody talking about it. How I personally feel like I hate that this young man lost his life. But I also hate how this has become the next newsworthy spin, social media spin of everybody talk about it day after day, hour after hour, for in on in. Yes, this young man's story should be told. Yes, the facts need to be dispersed. The part that really upsets me is people, and I'm putting my personal feelings in this right this time. Other people putting their personal feelings into it and just becoming a distraction from this case coming to a conclusion and resolve. Some of it has been very informative, and some of it has been uh, very informational, far as the perspectives. But what I don't like is the noise that is being spewed out there. And the fact that people are, I would say, and this is my general opinion, a glutton for the next social back and forth between people. Um, that's the part that really saddens me because now you have people that are starting to come out, and I'll say come out the woodwork out of nowhere talking about it, and they don't know nothing about it. They just talking about it just because it's the latest popular topic. I don't want to do that. Me, I have done a great deal of watching over these last few weeks. I've been watching very closely of who was saying what and where they were going with it. And a lot of it has shocked me. Most of it has been within the last 2 weeks of the amount of, I would say, it feels like self-hate being infused into the conversation. And that saddens me a lot that you take this opportunity and attach it to somebody's name in an unfortunate incident, and you use that as a catalyst to springboard your voice. I don't get down with that. And that is absolutely horrible to me. Part of me wants to say, hey, you reap what you sow off of that. Yeah, your likes, your views have all went up. People are seeing your face and you're going viral. Okay. But as quick as you rose to fame off of this, it's going to be the opposite. I, 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 for me at this point, because I'm super sensitive to spiritual side of this, I've been up and down over it because I don't talk about this quite often, but I am empathic. I am a medium, and quite often I may be tapped on the shoulder, or I may feel stuff that has been going on that isn't publicly known, and quite often it puts me in a space of I'm not sure how to approach it because of how it can be twisted. And for me, I have to withdraw from the conversation because of that quite often, because I am very mindful of the things that I say as someone that is highly intuitive, prophetic, and empathic. And I'm not emotional about it. I'm just being very cautious of how I approach things and what I say, because I don't want to be misunderstood, if that makes sense. And um, that's where I stand on that. One of the other things that has also just like really messed me up with this entire case is the optics of the people involved and how people are not fully, in my opinion, taking in consideration of the optics. Because to me, it seems like they're trying to frame things in one image, and that's not the image that is coming off on the backside of it. And I'm conflicted on how to feel about it, because I get why some of these people have gone to the lengths that they have gone to shape the image that they are putting out there surrounding this case. And hey, that's your prerogative, is how I feel about it on one side. The other side is like, why did you do it that way? One video that definitely impressed me that I found recently, and this was on TikTok, and I'm going to share it with you in its entirety to kind of put more factual information that I found out there in regards to this case. And I kind of want to know what you guys think about it. You can place a comment about it or whatnot. But I'll say it like this. From what the poster was saying, it kind of makes you wonder about the optics. And for me, I'm just like, hey, I'm not sure if you guys are fully aware of how you guys are looking at this moment. And it's okay. I'll say that. It's okay. Shout out to this poster off of TikTok. She states.
I figured it out. I figured out the Nolan Wells timeline. I know how they messed with the GPS. I figured it all out. I figured out the lies that are based in truth. I figured it all out, and I've got proof. But stick with me because it's going to be a long video, y'all. Now, I found a 15-page Marine Patrol report that had lots of little details that prove that the boys had been lying. So I've already shown how at 1:30 in the morning, the initial Lieutenant Odom with the Jackson County Sheriff's Office said that his deputies spoke with several of the friends who traveled to the island on the vessel with Nolan. And they said that he left in the company of an unknown female and that he chose to remain on the island.
So what was the next step? Did you guys ever engage with police? Or
Yeah, so the first time I talked to police was July 7th. I talked to the lead investigator, and I told him my whole story top to bottom. Dot every I, crossed every T. I told him everything I knew, every little detail.
Well, that's a lie now, isn't it, Warren? Because you talked to them at 1:30 in the morning that night. I mean, did you just forget to tell the cops about Katie? Because it's not like you didn't know it was her or you didn't know how to get in contact with her.
The girl that he was with, Katie, had texted somebody that she heard people yelling.
Correct.
Yelling.
Yeah, and I have a picture of that. She texted my buddy, and the next day everybody was panicking. Everybody's texting Katie, because she was obviously seeing Nolan the whole day at the island. Katie sent a message to my buddy the next day and said, this last time I saw him, he's really sweet. But she also mentioned that the last time she saw Nolan was when my buddy was yelling at him to get on the boat.
But Katie says that she assumed that she went on the boat after y'all were yelling at him. And let's not forget that the last time you saw him was 3.
Well, the last time I saw Nolan was 3 o'clock. And Nolan was cradling a girl in his arms.
And yet for some reason around noon, the name of another girl who hadn't even seen Nolan in a year was given to the patrol to go interview, saying that she was with that group, not Katie. They also gave...
I know that was a lot that just was thrown at you guys. The fact that this alleged friend of Nolan went out and had an interview with an influencer and provided details to the influencer. Optics. If I were them in their shoes, I would not be saying anything unless we're in court. Unless it's on a record where it matters. Now, I get the court of public opinion is at hand, and people want to control their narrative of the optics. But here's the issue. When people can go back and fact check you several times over and then use that court of opinion against you, like this young lady appears to be doing, you see how that doesn't really work for you.
Gave the name of a couple of other friends who they weren't able to get in contact with. And despite having a picture of a text message from Katie, funny how you didn't share that with Officer Tatum. Probably could have cleared up some stuff real quick, right? Now let's get to the data. Now, at about 1:30 on July 5th, they were doing a flight of drones based on the relation of the last known anchor position of the Atkinson vessel, which I have documented right here. 4:30, Officer Strickland contacted Jennifer Pyrone, who was Wyatt's mother, who told them that he had already spoken to officers earlier in that day, but they were happy to cooperate with any investigation. And she let this officer take a picture of the GPS. Officer Strickland observed the track line showing Pyrone's vessel location on Horn Island, then gave coordinates. I'm going to need you to remember this exact phrasing. It's going to be important later on. Now, this was the GPS coordinates from the picture that the officer took, meaning that these coordinates had to be a different one that was verbally given over the phone by Wyatt. And you'll notice they're quite different. Now, you'll notice that this incident report says the involved entities are Bart Edmington and Jerry Adkerson. not Wyatt. Even though Wyatt is 18, he should be on this report. And you could argue that they were just giving the names of the people that owned the boats, but somehow I doubt that 21-year-old Bart owns that boat. You'll notice on this report that 2 different pieces of GPS evidence were collected. So now we're going to go to the July 8th report where they came and they took those GPS coordinates from both the Adkerson boat and Bart's boat. Yellow is Bart, blue is the grandfather Jerry. You know, the same Jerry that called and canceled the sea tow as the sea tow phone call was being made. Now, mind you, this is 3 days after the police had come and spoken to the mother and gotten the GPS coordinates. Now, Bart had a germane GPS map chart plotter. Jerry's boat also contained a germane GPS map chart plotter. Now, I had to look up the difference between waypoints, tracks, and routes. So waypoints mark specific spots. Routes connect them in a planned order, and tracks record your actual path. Now, according to that GPS data, there is no movement from 11 to 4:30, but we know that that's not true. Warren has never been able to logically explain how they ended up so far away from the shore. Because according to him, he said at 3 o'clock, that was the last time he saw Nolan. Bart was trying to yell at him to get on the boat. His brother got into a fight, so he got his brother to come over there. That's when he saw that it was all sinking, because he said this.
There's a lot of people on, so it drags water in. And eventually, I think over time, we were out there for a couple hours. The boat just started filling up with water. So I popped the starboard side hatch, and the battery was completely underwater.
Yes, but according to Warren, he had just seen Nolan like neck deep cradling a girl at the boat next to them. So how did they end up in 31 feet of water?
How did you end up in 31 feet of water? Becomes like a real question that we know they're not going to ask this question in court, because in court they're only looking at a certain set of items on their list of evidence. They may skim over it, they may tap on it partially. They're not going to go in depth into it. And I find it fascinating looking at the optics on this influencer's channel. You say one thing, but then on the other hand, there's this track record of facts that people can, as you can see, obviously, can look up and find. There's an issue afoot.
At the 4 o'clock call. There's an hour in between that. If the battery is submerged, how would they even get away from the sandbar? You can see in the background of this picture, they are far away from people. And yet this GPS is saying that you were stationary the whole time. But why? Especially because we have actual fucking proof right here. We have the coordinates that Wyatt's mom gave them the second time, and the cop took a picture of the GPS. Compare it to the GPS coordinates in which they were trying to get a tow from. But what if I were to tell
Did you see it? You caught it, right? You saw that there are different coordinates, right? Okay.
Tell you that not only does a waypoint need to be physically saved on this exact type of GPS, you have to intentionally say, mark this spot, or else it doesn't automatically save. It records your tracks automatically, but those are just saved coordinates. And it turns out you can actually delete tracks. It's super easy. You just go into the main menu and you delete it off of your data. So why is this GPS data, which is right here, so much further away than what the GPS says it is later? There's no data included in that GPS report that explains them going from here to here, unless someone went in and deleted those tracks, because they probably dropped that waypoint once they anchored, which would explain why Warren said they showed up at 10:30 and the GPS says that they showed up after 11. And so then it wasn't until half an hour after the canceled tow that they dropped another waypoint. And mind you, the exact same GPS was used in both boats, and Wyatt/Jerry's boat has the tracks and routes where Bart's does not. And again, it tracks it automatically. So you have to intentionally delete those tracks. And why did they do that? Well, it turns out Jerry Atkinson just so happens to be the owner of Ocean Marine Group in Ocean Springs and Gulfport, which is literally a boat dealer. So guess who's going to know that information? We already know Grandpa Jerry was in the mix, because the only way that he could have canceled the sea tow before it even started to head out is if Wyatt had called Jerry first and Jerry told him to call for a sea tow and then canceled it for him, which would explain why he couldn't give any descriptions of where the water was. How high was it? We know that the sea tow did not bring in the boat. In fact, Bart's mother came on Facebook and said that there are pictures from my son's boat of the boat about to be towed, which is clearly who is about ready to tow them here, as Wyatt is on the phone. I can tell you 100% that this is not a sinking boat. You can see Bart bringing them in this picture. But Bart was supposedly the one yelling at Nolan to get on the boat, remember? Why would he be yelling at Nolan to get on a boat that's sinking? Unless he was telling Nolan to get on his boat. And Warren accidentally explained what really happened with the engine. Whatever happened with Nolan happened on Bart's boat, allegedly, which is why
It's a lot to catch up on now. So, I'll say this. Allegedly, the way it looks is the sequence of events allegedly transpired the way that they did was to cover their asses from whatever transpired. The unfortunate thing is this: when you try to cover your ass under duress and out of panic, you're going to make mistakes. And when you try to frame a narrative in a way that is favorable to you, you're going to leave out something that you previously divulged. Optically, it's going to make you look crazy. Why? Because your story is starting to fall apart. Because what happened now is people are starting to poke holes into your story. They're starting to see the cracks in your story. And what happens when people see the cracks in stories? They dive in deeper into those cracks. What they discover from it is only going to reshape the optics that you tried to shape.
all of Bart's information was deleted. So here's what happened. Both this one and this one confirmed that there was a fight that broke out on the beach. Started out with him, ended up with Warren's little brother. His uncle says, "We gotta go." They hop on a boat and they leave. He grabs his drunk younger brother and says, "We're getting out of here too." 3 o'clock, this whole caravan is trying to get the hell out of there because they're drunk and fighting. Wyatt's boat was in such a hurry that they couldn't figure out how to put the freaking trim down, which caused the motor to overheat, quickly stranded them, and Bart had to come help them. The time that Bart shows up, something has happened between him and Nolan. They're all distracted trying to fix the bilge pump because they didn't trim down. The waves were crashing over the boat and into the bilge pump, short-circuiting it. During this, some people have figured out that Nolan is gone. Other people just think that he's passed out or something, which is why Wyatt calls his grandfather to figure out what the F to do. And as the phone call is being made, more people are figuring out something's wrong with Nolan. That's why they didn't start moving again for 30 minutes. They were coming up with a plan and figuring out how to make it work. I've run out of time, but don't worry, I'm doing a follow-up to this video with more details, more information. And if you like my work, be sure to show your support in my bio. I figured it out.
Buddy. As the world turns, just know the truth is coming out. And, you know, for the life of me, people are wondering if Nolan could talk and he could tell his side of this story today. I feel there is a lot that will be said about these alleged friends. There's so many layers of speculation that are going out there that people were talking about. Triangle love affair, crime of passion situation that because of alcohol being involved with these, I would say children because they are younger than me, that things escalated, went too far. And did they mean for it to go this far? No. No, they didn't. The unfortunate thing is it did go that far. Pause for the cause. I have some comments. Auntie Robin says, happy Wednesday, everyone. Happy Wednesday to you. Thank you for being here, Auntie Robin. Noe is here. She says, hey. Hey to you. We have JoJo Speaks in the chat. He says, hey, y'all. Please like, share, and subscribe. Please. It's greatly appreciated. He also says, Tyrone, those shades are giving me Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. Hey man, that's what we do, man. We gonna lay down them tracks and we gonna make it party like it ain't never partied before. That's what I'm gonna do too. I've got this itch that needs to be scratched. I need to make some more music, and I'll divulge this little piece of secret. So what I've been quietly working on is my whole setup for going live stream on TikTok. That is where you're going to be able to see and hear the musical side of TD, Unveiled Vibrations. Unfortunately, because of YouTube's system, which I've tried. I've had fun with it. It was okay. It was cool. This whole copyright content ID thing, it just ain't working for me over here on YouTube. So pulled away from doing music here on YouTube because, frankly, for me personally, I know other people out there that enjoy going live on YouTube and creating new tracks and using samples and all that stuff in their beats on YouTube live streams. It just ain't working for me. So I'm pulling the LeBron. I'm taking my talents elsewhere. I wish it was South Beach, Miami, but it ain't. It is what it is. So I'll be taking the musical side of this platform onto TikTok, where you can find me there, as I showed you guys earlier. Mr. TD McCollum. Simple. You'll see the Unveiled vibrations come up. Yeah, it's me. That's where you'll be able to see. All right. Okay. Hey, Lady Virgo's here tonight. Hey, Lady Virgo. Welcome to see you. I'm glad to see you here. She says, Other vibrations, Auntie Robin, JoJo Speaks, Stinky. Hey, happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Indeed. I would like to know what you guys think in the comments about this Nolan's case. Some of the other stuff that has recently come out that have intrigued me quite a bit is the whole thing with the autopsy and the back and forth between the family's lawyer and the state of Mississippi. And it is quite interesting how they're playing this cat and mouse game, or table tennis back and forth on things. I just want this thing to be resolved and all the information on the table, because frankly, the history of the state of Mississippi is not on the side of the state of Mississippi. And unfortunately, there was another recent death in Mississippi. This time it was in Jackson, Mississippi, in which a young lady was found unalive, hanging in a backyard. They're calling it a lynching. Now, there hasn't been any true determination of what really has happened, but what we've known within the last year to 2 years has happened in these cases, even in other states. They've all been ruled suicides. And a lot of people just don't believe that anymore. Especially when you start looking into the background of those that they're alleging unalived themselves. And you start looking into their lives of who they were. You start to discover that that's not who they were. And for it to come up that this is the way that they've met their maker, I have to say it like this. George W. Bush was right. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, a fool can't get fooled again. Yeah, a lot of people say that ain't how that saying goes. Well, it's gonna be that way from now on because George W. Bush said it that way. And it's a little bit of truth to that, man. Hey, fool me once, shame on me. I'm not gonna get fooled again into thinking otherwise. Because if we do, hey, it will never get around to shame on you. It's always going to be on me. Thus, fool can't get fooled again. Come forth from it. We tired of getting fooled. And people are simply like this, hey, we're tired of the system trying to hand wave stuff away as if our feelings are invalid. Our thoughts of what we see, what we perceive as the facts, what we gathered with our own intellect. And you're like, don't look at it from what I tell you and just go with what I tell you. That there is a slippery slope. That leads to dangerous places like cults and sheep following down and just don't buck against the system and do as we're told and all that. It is absolutely bonkers to me. For me, that's not rooted in reality. The reality is like the video I just showed you. The reality is that anything that is put out there can be scrutinized. It should be scrutinized because where there is fabrication, the truth must come forth. And without the truth coming forth, hey, you're asking people to live in fantasy. Why should we remain in the fantasy? Why? I think that's the problem with society today. Like, honestly, like, the system wants you to no longer buck against the system because that is woke. And woke is negative. It is anti everything. When simply it's just trying to seek the truth and have the truth stand on its own. When we talk about the truth, I have to bring up the simple fact that your boy RFK Jr. can't handle the truth. What do you mean, TD? He can't handle the truth. Well, let me show you what I mean by it. You go on to the news and do an interview, right? And in this interview, you're trying to shape one narrative, right? And I'm like, okay, why are we afraid of the truth? Because the way it begins to show up, like when we fear the truth and we're trying to steer the narrative away from the truth, in my opinion, it makes us look even more crazy. You don't believe me? Just watch this. RFK Jr. up here talking about vaccines and the lies centered around it. As somebody tries to get him to speak the truth and realize the truth about what was said and done.
Find out how it interacts with people's DNA, what's predisposed to have an autistic child. Are you doing both?
Yeah, but Dana, you probably don't understand this because you're not a scientist. But genes
you're not either.
Genes don't cause epidemics.
I understand genes.
They can provide a vulnerability.
A gene provides environmental. That's what I'm asking. Are you studying the environmental
We're looking
exposure?
at all the different environmental exposures, but your statement, you have been fooled. Your statement that this has been studied is not true. It's categorically not true. Not for any of the studies.
It is considered
Considered by who?
By every scientist who has studied this.
That is not true. I can give you hundreds of scientists who have looked at this.
So on the one hand, do you understand why people aren't getting
Academy of Sciences? What greater authority
do you understand why people are not getting measles vaccines? Because they're hearing you say that it could cause
You're trying
autism.
to change the subject.
I'm not. It's very much related.
Show me one of the studies that's been done on the first 8 the vaccines during the first 6 months of life. You will not find them. The National Academy of Sciences.
So if that's the case,
then
why are you telling people to get the measles vaccine?
Because that is one of the vaccines that has been studied.
Okay.
It's the only one that has been studied.
Do you want people to get the MMR vaccine?
Yeah, I said that already.
Okay, so
I know you're flustered now, and it is.
I'm not frustrated at all. I am frustrated.
And honest.
The reason I'm frustrated is because you are the HHS. You are the HHS secretary, and you are talking about things that lead to vaccine hesitancy in this country, and it is something that causes problems for people when there is not anything.
Let me ask you something. Do you see your job as ending vaccine hesitancy, or do you see your job as telling the truth to the American people?
I see my job as telling the truth, and the truth is that there is study after study after study. It's one of the most studied things out there in science.
You're repeating
and it is
like a parrot. You're repeating it like a parrot.
So
I've actually read the science. You don't want to come back here and debate the science.
I'm not debating this view.
Of course you won't.
No, because I'm not
all
debating.
You know how to do is repeat things that people told you and say, trust the experts. That's what you did during COVID. Now we know that Anthony Fauci, who was the expert, was lying about everything, about masks, about social distancing, about natural immunity, about the transmission from the vaccine, about the source of COVID. He was lying, and you were punishing people for not trusting the experts. And now you're rolling.
Are you also trying to find out how it interacts with people?
Wait. When it comes to RFK Jr., you have to slow down what he is saying to hear what he's not saying at this point, because he will jump into a ramble rant and just and throw a talking point in. Throw a talking point in. And then get aggressive about it. And make that look like he's telling you the truth, when it's far from it. Far from it. Over the last year, we've had an unprecedented amount of children have these insane outbreaks in multiple states, all because he said vaccine causes autism. And it's like, where are the founding? Where's the data on that shows that? From what I saw, it's less than 2%. Less than 2%. And he's making it sound like it's 98% of the cause, when it wasn't. And then to go into the Anthony Fauci thing was another talking point, that the Republicans are on this campaign of smearing Anthony Fauci for his involvement in how the Republicans, because they were in control at the time of COVID, how they approached it and how they handled it. And so, because things didn't work out in their favor as they planned for things to do, allegedly, their smear campaign is, he must go down with the sinking ship. We're going to place blame on him for everything. Even though he was one of the voices that said, hey, I'm going to use science. I'm going to use logic. Trial and error is amongst the community of what the sciences, to research and then publish my findings. They're trying to say social distancing did not work for COVID because it wasn't a 100% cure. Facts. But did it work? Yeah, it slowed down the spread of COVID. It did. Did COVID continue to still spread? Yes. But did it slow down? Yes. Why? Because science proved a certain amount of feet in between people created a barrier in which the virus could not mutate and spread. That's facts. The scary thing about it is those that were advocating for the science were villainized, demonized, and taken for granted, unfortunately, as they are right now. There are plenty of people out there that say, well, I didn't get vaccinated. Well, I was fine throughout the whole ordeal. I wasn't affected by it. But you can't sit up here and tell me and all them people that are no longer here that you don't know someone that was affected by it. If you are, you're lying. You're lying. You're lying to me. You're lying to yourself. You're lying to this entire world. Did the results of their findings give the results that they were hoping for? That everyone would be saved? No, it did not. Did it stop the disease from spreading? Yes. Mission accomplished. It's mighty funny to me that y'all tell people wearing a mask didn't work, but would be glad to see your dentist wearing a mask when they're operating on you, when the doctor in the emergency room is operating on you, they wear masks. You're telling me it's okay for them, but this one instance, no, it didn't work. It was all a lie. That's the narrative that you're gonna go with. When clearly we know when people are ill, one of the tools that they give to people as a preventive tool to prevent whatever it is from spreading to somebody else, they give them a mask. Yes or no? Yes, TD, that's what they do. Okay then. Dr. Fauci said, put on this mask. It will prevent it from spreading. It will protect you in most cases. If the other person that you're with is also protecting themselves. That's where the truth lied. It was laid out in our faces, but people, because of their feelings and the optics of somebody's gonna tell me what you're not gonna tell me what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do what I want. The results was lives were lost because they politicized this whole COVID thing. And in fact, it's not my findings. You can go all the way back to February of 2020, and look it up. In the midst of Black History Month, as COVID entered into the African American community, the president of the United States at the time, Donald J. Trump, did not do anything. Why? Because of his personal feelings. None of that, his approach to any of it at the time of February of 2020, was based on science and data. None of it. In fact, we went through the month of February, the month of March, into the month of April is where they began to kind of start to take things serious. Because when did Fauci get involved in this? It wasn't until sometime in March, almost April, when Fauci got involved. Going in towards May is where he really started to become a main voice in all of this. Fact check me. Go back to 2020 yourself and look at it. I lived it. You lived it. The facts behind it is simple. What we saw happen with our own two eyes, not based off feeling, what we saw happen was one of the greatest disasters of our lifetime. Being mishandled. And it was because people got their feelings involved. And their own personal desires involved. How I feel right now, all of this mess that has been going on the last year and a half is all their personal feelings. RFK's personal feelings involved. And unfortunately, like with COVID, we're going to have to see this play out. And even after everything is said and done, they're not going to take any accountability. They're not. We see that happening right now. They're not taking any accountability for COVID. One of the things that they have done over the last year and a half is blame it all on Joe Biden and President Obama, when it's all been in their hands the entire time. I'm not being a Trump basher on this. I'm just looking at the facts and the reality here. If it was another president name in between Obama and Biden and all of this had happened, they would be the blame. Right or wrong? I can't hear you. I mean, people don't understand how bad things are when you get your personal feelings involved, and we going is you have a platform, and instead of the truth, we want to substitute it for XYZ. Like Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is still heated over how everyone was attacking him for not deciding to get the vaccine and deciding to do things his way. Here's the thing, though. If the professionals tell you not to continue to play football because it's going to kill you, and you go out and still say, I'm going to play football because I want to play football. It's my body and I can do whatever I want. Okay. You die or become severely injured. You blaming everyone for your decision in the aftermath. Whatever dent it does to your reputation in the aftermath. That's insanity to me.
A couple times today, because you've been very open about coming back for this year, last rodeo, and you talked about your wife saying, hey, have another year. Mike McCarthy being here, obviously a big deal. Can you tell us about the mindset of coming into your last season? Like, that's a real thing, it feels like, because is everything better? Is everything funner? Is everything more awesome? Like, how do you kind of view this year versus maybe the years of the past?
I'm going to plead the fifth.
Okay.
Okay. Like
Gotta
that.
love that. And the reason why this becomes a running joke at the moment, I plead the fifth. For those that don't know, several questions that were asked of Anthony Fauci while he was in his congressional hearing recently, he pled the fifth for. The Fifth Amendment is there so you don't incriminate yourself by saying something that would be harmful to yourself. And whether it is factual or fabricated, you pleading the fifth is not an admission of guilt. And I believe people have come to this conclusion when you say, I plead the Fifth Amendment so I don't incriminate myself. Meaning, I'm lying. I am trying to evade an answer. And that's stemming from none other than Bill Clinton in his days, his bad boy days, with the whole Monica Lewinsky thing. And people assume you're guilty when you say that. If we look at the context in which Aaron Rodgers is talking right now, he's simply just saying, I'm not trying to talk about this right now. I'm not going to say yay or nay on any of this. I don't want to put anything out in the atmosphere because I don't know what tomorrow may bring. I plead the fifth. So I don't incriminate myself. Because I know y'all are going to pick apart what I say in this very moment and bring it back to something else I said at another moment and bring that against something I said in another moment. And it's just going to become this spiral of a moment. So let's take that element out of the room. I plead the fifth. It's now a joke because Anthony Fauci used it in his testimony. And in a moment, you're going to hear Aaron Rodgers' rebuttal in terms of his feelings of how things went during COVID.
Like that absolute coward, Tony Fauci. Absolute coward.
Yeah.
There, it's back,
Are
baby.
you kidding me?
Yeah, 111
You got a
times.
pardon and you're in front and you pleaded over 100 times
Yeah.
at the White House. What are you scared of, Tony?
Yeah.
I thought you were the science.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought you were I am science, and you get up there and you can't answer a question.
Yeah.
What are we doing? And how much time did the network spend on that? How much time did they spend on my responses every week, on my vaccination status, on Taylor and Travis's wedding?
Yeah!
Did they do
A couple times today because you've been very open.
What this does in this very moment is places people on two sides of a fence. And Rodgers didn't know that he was being utilized, or maybe he did willingly know that he would be utilized as a dividing rod. Going back to COVID and drumming up the energy and feelings and thoughts of how everybody felt going through such a tumultuous time. I'm going to use the word tumultuous because we all were affected by it. And I mean, madly affected by it. I know several people that are no longer here with us. I know people that are still here with us that got COVID. Me, my personal self, I did not get COVID. Honestly, I believe I got the early bird version of COVID a few years earlier. That's my allegation. I don't know. Why I say I don't know? Because I plead fifth. No. Because I don't know what it was. Now, when I went to the doctor and spoke with them about it, they pretty much said, yeah, you have flu-like symptoms. Yeah, you have this going on, but it's not that. Then what is it? We don't know. We'll treat it for this because these are some of the symptoms of that. And let's see the trial and error part of the science, right? The Fedified Reiki is here with us. So sorry, I'm running on this huge rant these last few minutes, but I had to say all that. She came in a while back and said, word. Miss Kim is here. Hey, Miss Kim, how you doing? She said, hey, I'm late, y'all. Glad I was able to catch some of the show. I'm glad that you were able to catch some of this show, too. She also says, Dr. Fauci is a hero. He deserves respect. I agree. If Dr. Fauci never spoke up and never came forth, we can only imagine how much worse things would have been. Because you had a president at the time that said, drink some bleach. Drink some bleach is what you tell your people that look up to you for answers and guidance and what to do in a state of crisis. This is the same guy that during the solar eclipse goes outside and looks straight up at the sun, where science has told us never do that. And y'all would trust the word of this guy over the scientists that saved lives countless times. Yeah, I get some people feel away because of his alleged ties to HIV from back in the day and how that whole ordeal unfolded for our country. But if you think about it, I'm pretty sure a lot of people are not thinking about it because it's not affecting them now as it once was. Why is that? Because the science, the health community came together and they worked hard so we wouldn't have to think about it anymore. Just let that marinate for a second. There are more people today living with HIV than they have ever been before. And that's because of the heroes that stood up in the face of the political banter to become a voice that says, not on my watch. And those are the same people that you want to turn into the villain. Because of what? Personally, how I feel about it is there's money in being in the opposition. It's why we have a two-tier political society, unfortunately. Because people have figured out how to make money off of it, unfortunately. why we this way is because this is a capitalist society. We once used to say, and the song says, people make the world go round. Well, these dollar bills make the people go around. If it ain't for the mighty dollar in the other song, money, 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 if it wasn't for that mean green, nothing will be moving forward in this country. Man, oh man. We have a mess on our hand, man. We have an utter mess on our hands. And it is unfortunate. It's gonna keep going. It's gonna keep going. And gosh, man, like the sad part is the fact that people don't care unless it's directly affecting them. Like, unless they really, really feel it. Like, people felt the cost of eggs because the cost of eggs affected them in a way. Because it affected their household so severely. People didn't feel like COVID affected them because it didn't put them in a hospital. Yeah, it may have put a friend or relative or a friend of a relative or whatever degrees of separation that possibly you can come up with. Yeah, that came into play. But hey, eventually you're not going to be able to ignore the data. Why? Because it's the truth. CNBC recently did a list of the 10 worst states to live in, ranking by quality of life. That entails healthcare, crime, work protections for, like if people getting fired unjustly, environmental qualities, and a number of other things. You would be intrigued to see who's on this list. Let's look at it together.
Just dropped its list of the 10 worst states to live in. And I know a lot of you are not going to like who came in at number 2. They based the rankings on quality of life metrics, things like crime, access to health care, protections for workers, the kind of things it says would attract workers to a state. At number 10, Arkansas, which actually moved up this year, but they got poor marks for violent crime, dead last for food insecurity. Oklahoma, number 9, a cheap minimum wage and poor worker protections hurt the Sooner State. Alabama's 8, poor marks for mental health providers and limited protections against discrimination. Missouri, number 7, one of the most violent states in America, according to FBI statistics, top 10 in firearm deaths, too. Utah is 6th, beautiful state, but bad marks from CNBC for healthcare and a low minimum wage. At 5, Georgia ranked poorly for worker rights and protections against discrimination. Louisiana was 4th over healthcare access and violent crime rates. 3rd, Indiana ranked low when it comes to childcare, which makes it more expensive for families to live there. At number 2, my home state of Texas. And this is weird, though, because CNBC rates Texas as 4th best when it comes to doing business. When it comes to quality of life, they rank the Lone Star State low for healthcare reasons, a high uninsured rate, dead last in the country in primary care physicians per capita. And CNBC state with the lowest quality of life?
Lowest quality of life. I wish I had a drum roll for her. I think I do have a drum roll. I'm gonna hit my bongos for a second on this one. But y'all sounded alone. Get ready.
Tennessee, one of the highest violent crime rates in the country, 3rd highest drug death rate, and hostility toward the LGBTQ community. I know you have some thoughts. What do you think of CNBC's rankings? What they get right? What they get wrong? Let me know in the comments.
Ooh. You know what's funny about all this? It's not funny. They're all red states. All Republican-led states. And yet, people feel like they're okay. Like nothing is happening. Like the world isn't on fire around them. Yet it is. What are they gonna do about it? Bunch of nothing. All they're gonna do is sit around and blame it on the ops. Well, we wouldn't have this problem if it wasn't for the Democrats. Meanwhile, the Democrats are around saying, "Oh, we having these problems because of the Republicans." It's because of MAGA. It's because of and that and this whatever. Ain't nobody coming together to save us, the regular people. Unfortunately. It should make you mad. But it's not, because hey, you're not worried about it. It's not affecting me today. It's not. I have zero concern because my lights are on, my rent is paid, my car note is paid, my insurance is paid, I'm healthy. I got a little money to do something else on the side, you know. All right. All is well. Until you start to look back over history and you be like, wait a minute. Something's off. Something's a little off, right? It should be. People like to talk about the current generations of people, millennials, and the fact that millennials, Gen X, Gen Z, Gen Y, all of the folks that came after the baby boomers, they are not equipped for sustainability in this society. And the ones that are looking down on us, unfortunately, are the ones that made it. What am I talking about? Let me share this with you.
Had real jobs and they're complaining things are expensive. Yes, things are expensive when you don't have a real job.
Because this generation, my generation, I hate to say it, Gen Z and those younger than me have been raised with just silver spoons in their mouth, just getting everything handed to them. That's not the values this country was built on. It was built on meritocracy and hard work, pulling up your sleeves, pulling yourself up from your bootstraps, and achieving the American dream.
Oh, Caroline. But I know something about you. You went to Central Catholic High. That's a private school. Caroline, you went to a high school that cost $20,000 a year.
$20,000 a year is somebody's salary, and y'all was paying that to go to a school. A school. High school, like that. I was in public school. Got quite educated from my school in my home state, and I was able to go quite far from that. I did achieve a couple of degrees off of my public school. Caroline Levitt, you tell somebody to pull themselves up by their own bootstraps and having a silver spoon. $20K is somebody's first car. $20K is a down payment on somebody's house. You know, $20K. What? $20K is somebody's savings that they've saved up over more than 10 years. Yeah, your parents would just so happen to just pay for your high school tuition.
You're a Nepo baby. And then you married a rich man that's your father's age. In fact, you got knocked up by a rich man your father's age, and then you married him. So you were born with a silver spoon, and then you put a silver-haired spoon in your mouth. Caroline, the spoon is coming from inside the kitchen. Caroline Levitt, who's 28 years old going on 39, hasn't paid a bill in her entire life. So I just find it a little funny that she thinks that she ate with this one. I probably wouldn't complain about the economy either if I was fucking a 60-year-old rich man, Caroline. I mean, once you finish changing your kids' diapers, your husband will probably start wearing them. Hey, Gen Z, stop being lazy. Pick yourselves up by the bootstraps and marry a real estate developer that graduated high school in 1971. These Gen Z kids who haven't had a real job. Yeah, they don't have a real job because they can't get a fucking job. I mean, the nerve of this woman to get on here with her pillow face filler and a mouthful of elderly and tell me and my generation that we're being lazy. Let's zoom out for a minute and look at the segment that Fox is pushing, though. Dems go full commie for midterms. Medicare for all. College for all. Housing for all. The horror! Housing for all? College for all? Medicare for all? The horror! Can the billionaires come save us from this hell?
The billionaires want us at odds with each other. Why? Because that distracts us, the poor, from whatever they're doing. As long as we're distracted, we can't concentrate on how they're effing us over, how they're influencing things in their favor. That's the truth. But, you know, here's the funny thing about it. The rich don't care that we blame the rich for being rich. They don't. Because they're rich. Those are not rich people's problems. Those are poor people's problems. What they do care about is losing their money, losing their influence. As long as they can manipulate things just a little bit, they're happy. Because yet again, like I said earlier, it's all off of their feelings. It's not off the facts. They felt the tariffs were gonna bring them a ton of money to this country. Yeah. Sure. What we now know is it was all a scam. Heighten up the tariffs, cost of goods go up, they make more money. On the back end, the government refunds them the amount that they paid for the increased amount that they had to pay to import goods. They win. Who doesn't win? It's regular people. People that buy these goods. In the end, they still pay more. That's the truth. The lie was everybody's gonna get rich. Everybody is not everybody. The United States is gonna bring in so much money. You gotta listen to what was said slowly. The United States. Not like that. No. Meaning, take a closer look to what was said. Which members of the United States was Donald Trump talking about? There is levels to this. And unfortunately, some of us are not included in that. It is what it is on that, man. And when they talk about real jobs, bring up the fact of having real jobs. What is a real job today is not what a real job was in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. Hell, I would include the early 2000s in that. What is a real job today? That's a food for thought. Because how many of us remember real jobs were construction workers, How many of us remember real jobs were teachers? How many of us remember real jobs were firemen and policemen? How many of us remember real jobs were doctors and lawyers? How many of us remember real jobs? To be something that gave us livable wages, that we were able to supply all our needs and have a little left over for a rainy day. If you remember that and you're still here watching this video, put the praise hands up in the comments. Those were the glory days. Now, a real job. What is that? Huge question mark. What is a real job? Because how many of us out here have to have a job as our main job and a side hustle? We shouldn't have to do that if we had real jobs. If there was a society of real jobs, there's such thing as a society of real jobs. That's the fantasy of all of this, that we feel like things are real, but they're not. They're not, man. My opinion is society tipped over the whole reality of real jobs when certain positions became high income earners over other positions. Because society started to pull strings. Doctors weren't earning doctors' wages that they are today until society started pulling the strings. Lawyers weren't earning the amount that lawyers earn. Hell, realtors. And they weren't earning the amount that they're earning today until society started pulling on the strings of things. What I mean by pulling the strings of things, when one person started a trend of things, it became standard. And as that standard became standard, somebody else decided to change. Everything centered around that, and then we have this whole fluster of things that happen afterwards. It's like, if you guys go back and look, judges within a county weren't making as much as they are now. Police chiefs in the local townships weren't making as much as they are now. Hell, I will even go all the way down to the sanitation worker. They weren't making what they make now without evolution in society. The welders, the electricians, the mechanics of the society at one point they were saying that was a real job. Now, though, if you listen to somebody like Caroline Levitt, those aren't real jobs anymore. Unfortunately, to her, those aren't real jobs. It make you wonder, like, so can everybody be a lawyer? Can everybody be a doctor? Can everybody be a politician? Can everybody be a Fortune 500, 400, 200, 100 business owner? To somebody like Caroline Levitt, those are real jobs. To the convenience store worker, for Caroline Levitt, that's not a real job. And these are the voices of our society that will stand up and tell somebody to pull themselves up by their own bootstraps. And you tell somebody like me, being a musician, not a real job unless I'm ultra famous, like a Kanye West, a Stevie Wonder. You'll say to the teacher that is making $65K a year, they don't have a real job. But your job is important to our society. Keep up the good fight. But that's not a real job. You'll tell the bartender that's working bartending while going to school to be a nurse, neither one of them jobs is a real job. That's what y'all tell somebody from your position, your state of being. And the unfortunate thing is, that's your reality. I wonder how things would be for a Caroline Levitt if society was to flip on its head and she would become someone that she despises. The person that has to live off of SNAP benefits month to month, paycheck to paycheck, worried about paying rent, worrying that if I take one day off of work as a cook at a Waffle House, how it's going to affect my rest of the month. Because I got to go to the doctor for my diabetes. Because I've been stress eating. And you're like, society tells you go get a real job. But society doesn't prepare you for the undertaking. What it takes to get there. They just say get there. It's most unfortunate how the United States has evolved into this country in which it stands. Can she change? The possibilities are available. Absolutely, I'll say that. Will it change? I'm not holding my breath. Because change is hard. Change isn't something that happens quickly. And the reason why is because we're fighting against reality versus whatever else we want to insert in that. The reality that we're looking at right now is the system has failed us. And the way it's functioning right now, it's not going to repair itself. It must come a time period where we have a hard reset on everything, which means that things must come to an end and stop in order for us to restart it again. I mean, it's like restarting a computer. Like, you have to completely cut it off at some point to restart it again. And the question is, when you restart it, is it going to reboot with the same problem or another problem? Or is it going to work itself out? Well, honestly, how I feel about it in this conversation is our society, we're going to have to do a hard reset in which we have to put a whole new system in place. People are not going to like this system that comes forth because it's not going to be anything that it once was. It's not going to be, believe it or not, people like familiarity. And because what we need will not be familiar, it's going to cause problems for people. Because people are not going to know how to navigate around unfamiliar territories. And the problem is society tells you it's not okay if it's not familiar. I, for one, want to tell you it's okay that it's not familiar because that's how we grow. And unfortunately, I say fortunate. Yeah. I wanted to say unfortunate, but fortunately is. We've gone through this before as a society. It's just the generations that are here now, matriculating through it, don't have the wisdom, or I'll say this, lack the inspiration to create their way out of it. But we're gonna have to. That's the only way it's gonna work. We're gonna have to get real creative around here. It is what it is on there, man. I've gone weary. I've gotten tired. I thank you all for joining me on this week's show. Also, I'm happy football is back. I'm looking forward to bringing football conversation to the show. Those that don't know, I am a Baltimore Ravens fan, and I love HBCU football. I will be watching the game. And cheering on my favorite teams. Because football's back, baby. So, get y'all football helmets and popcorn and tailgating gear ready. Tomorrow night, first preseason game of the NFL returns. It is the Hall of Fame football game. I believe it is the Carolina Panthers versus the Arizona Cardinals, if I'm not mistaken. Looking forward to this game because Carolina Panthers have done some interesting moves in the offseason in acquiring a better roster of players, and they will be making their debut tomorrow night. Arizona Cardinals has also added quite a few pieces from the draft this year. Interested in seeing how the new rookies on both teams fare out as preseason gets underway. My beautiful people, sorry for the long-winded show. I do appreciate you guys coming and enjoying and viewing with me. I invite you back next week. Same place, same beautiful face. Y'all join JoJo Speaks tomorrow night for his hot topics, along with the lovely Bianca Edwards and Prophetic Fire Reiki is his panel guest. And then, like I said earlier, join us Saturday for Faithful Warrior Ministries prayer and devotion. I'll see you then. Good night.